So when you look at somebody like that, we're talking about using muscle versus just letting the swing freely. I mean, he does a little bit of both, but he really torques it up at the end. He doesn't slide much, and he pulls up and gets up on his toes, kind of like EJ Tackett. You see some of these big, strong guys are using muscle, and I say big, strong, meaning big, high rev rates, lots of power. That doesn't mean they're necessarily strong. Kevin, very strong. EJ, I'm sure he's strong in his own right for the size of his body, but big, strong meaning the power you put into the bowling ball. So when I talk about using a free swing, and when I'm trying to teach this, and don't mind my eyes, I'm still sick, so I'm just getting over it. It's actually a lot better today than what it was yesterday. But when I talk about using a free swing, less muscle, the reason we teach that so much in the beginning is because that's the easiest way to be consistent. The least amount of muscle you use, the more consistent you're going to be, the less mistakes you can actually make at the end of the day or at the end of the swing. When you're using muscle, you can use a little too much or a little too less or too little, depending on the situation. When you get really elite, when you get really good, like guys like EJ and Kevin and many, many others, you learn to control that muscle. Kevin, in this situation, when you watch, let's watch that again. When you watch this again, you can see in that specific situation, he's creating a lot of speed, both with his legs and with muscle. You see how much he accelerates through the ball at the end of the swing, which also is creating the quickness with his hands, so he can accelerate through the ball with his fingers, getting his thumb out first, then his fingers, but also he's accelerating to create speed as well. Some people are going to use a lot of muscle in their swing, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the reason we teach to use less muscle is to increase consistency. When you're a newer bowler, when you're somebody that doesn't practice a lot, it's very, very important to make sure it's free so that way you can build that consistency. You can get better and better. I know a lot of people are always focused on like rev rate and stuff so early, but honestly, if you can get everything consistent from your footwork all the way through the swing to your hand at the bottom, and then practice that a bunch, get consistent, then you can start making little changes like doing things like what Kevin's doing, and then you can increase your rev rate because then you can practice things at home. You can actually throw the ball into a couch or a soft pillow, whatever it may be. Don't hurt anything, but get it to where you're focusing then on getting your thumb out faster. And maybe you need to come visit your pro shop guy. Come see me. We'll work on your fit. We'll try to get you out a little bit quicker so your fingers stay in longer, but your thumb comes out well before your fingers. And when I say well before your fingers, that generally means it's going to be just a fraction of a second before. But when you slow video down, you should see that the thumb is out and then the fingers are rolling through it. And the power is coming from mainly your legs at first. When we're first learning, it's mainly your legs, the speed of your legs. When you start to get better, you can use acceleration with your arm. Again, if you're newer to bowling, I don't always recommend that. I almost never recommend that because that is very hard to control, because using muscle means you can do more things wrong. Just keep that in mind. No, another good example of this would be like somebody like Mikey Schleybaugh. Another one that he uses his legs really well because he's a big, strong kid as well. And you can see he gets his feet moving pretty quick, but he gets that power step into that last step with the elbow bend, and that boy snaps it off so hard at the end, much like EJ Tackett, kind of the same type of thing. But he uses an awful lot of muscle in the swing, in order to create what you're creating. And when you're using a little bit of elbow bend in your swing, you're going to have to use a little bit of muscle because that's the only way you can actually get your elbow to bend and still stay underneath it at the same time. So there's a lot that goes into creating a good swing and creating good, powerful release. You have to start with the basics. Start little by little with things and just get your footwork right first. Free your swing up, then get your hand right, And then after you get all that consistent, then we can start implementing a couple of small things. Implement a power step, implement a little bit of elbow bend, implement a better wrist position, getting your thumb out faster. There's a lot of things that it's very difficult to just jump right into the techniques and think you're going to master all of it and think you're just going to jump out there and have 500 rev rate with 19-mile-an-hour ball speed and still know where the ball's going. Like, it's not as simple as people make it look. EJ, Kevin, Mikey, Belmo, those guys, a little easier for Belmo because he doesn't have to worry about getting his thumb out. But it's the same concept. Even without your thumb, it's the same concept of what you're doing. And he's creating a lot of ball speed with his arms and muscle. And two-handed, you have to use quite a bit of muscle because you are throwing it with your upper body quite a bit, your legs and your upper body, and you're accelerating through it at the very end. So, these guys are creating power in different, unique ways. It's not necessarily going to be a free swing like a Duke. It's not going to be a Parker Bone type of swing. Those are very old school type swings, very effective swings back then, still effective today if you can utilize it properly. But the problem is without creating the power, it does take away a little bit of mistake room. It takes away a little bit of that extra carry. That off hit that carries once or twice a game doesn't carry when you don't have the power. There's little things that can really affect your game. So just pay attention to these things. Let me know in the comments below, which type of bowler are you? Are you more of like a Parker Bone, a Duke, a free swinger, or are you a muscle, try to bang on it type of person? I don't know. Just let me know. But that's all I got for you. Just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit. I saw Kevin's video and I was like, dang, that kid's freaking strong, man. He does a lot to a bowling ball. I love it. So I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later.